I'm talking about Marvel Legends Kitty Pryde. This is the Walmart exclusive from Toy Biz. And now, Kitty Pryde first appears in Uncanny X-Men number 129 in 1980. And in that, she's a 13-year-old genius who, as her mutant powers are just starting to uh, show themselves. So, and this is detected by both the X-Men and the Hellfire Club, and they both go seeking to, uh, get her into their training programs at the Xavier Institute and the Massachusetts Academy. Uh, so she goes out with for ice cream with Storm, Colossus, and Wolverine, and they get attacked, and the X-Men get kidnapped, uh, and she follows them, and eventually frees them, and uh, manages to get in contact with the other X-Men, and uh, from then on, she joins the X-Men and becomes a pretty big part of it, with lots of storylines revolving around her, including Days of Future Past, the big first encounter with the Brood, um, and there's a great issue where she battles a demon in the mansion. The mansion is wrecked, and it's sort of a trial by fire of her. And she meets the little space alien dragon and names it Lockheed after the Blackbird, whose manufacturer is Lockheed. And she's on the X-Men for quite a while, and then when the New Mutants pop up, Professor Xavier puts her on the New Mutants team for a little bit. Well, that's short-lived as she proves herself to become an X-Men. And she develops a very sisterly, where almost mother and daughter relationship with Storm, and a crush on Peter, or Colossus. When she gets possessed by the spirit of Wolverine's former sensei, she and him have this whole big adventure, and out of that, they really start to have this mentor and Wolverine has this mentor relationship with her that people often try and replicate, particularly with Jubilee. But after that, she's injured in the mutant massacre, and she can't turn solid anymore as her powers are turning. She's able to phase. Well, she's injured where she can't turn solid anymore. And Reed Richards, of course, the smartest man in the Marvel Universe, cures her. But at that time, the X-Men go off to Dallas and are thought to have died. And she, Phoenix, and the second Phoenix, and Nightcrawler all go to Muir Island in Scotland to recuperate, and there they start Excalibur. And she's on Excalibur for a pretty long run, and she gets involved with Pete Wisdom and the British sort of intelligence and shield for a little bit, and then she decides she's had enough and she wants a normal life. So she goes to the college at the University of Chicago, and she doesn't tell anyone that she's back in the States or around, so she's kind of hiding out for a little bit. Well, she gets kidnapped by William Stryker, and eventually gets freed, and she helps out the Extreme X-Men team with that Rogue leads a couple of times, and she finally comes back to the X-Men really for good when the Astonishing X-Men starts with Joss Whedon. And actually, Joss Whedon says that Kitty Pryde was the kind of the inspiration for Buffy in his Buffy the Vampire Slayer series. So anyway, she is reunited with Colossus when he is found on the Break World, or found to have been used by the Break World aliens for experimentation, and then she sacrifices herself because they've sent this big honkin' missile / bullet straight at the Earth, and she phases it through the Earth, but unfortunately she cannot be separated from it or saved, and so she's somewhere out there, intangible, phasing this great big bullet through space, and that's where she is now. Let's go back into her powers, which she, of course, has phasing, and which makes her virtually intangible to all sorts of things. She's susceptible to some forms of energy, and her powers disrupt electronics when she goes through them, even sometimes the central nervous system. She can also use that power to have levitation. She kind of walks on the air particles, and so that's neat. She, of course, is, as I mentioned, a genius, particularly with computers and applied sciences. She knows a bunch of martial arts because because of her possession with Ogun and additional training. She was a dancer, just for that, and she has wielded the soul sword of her best friend Yelena Rasputin, or magic. So she has some sort of tied to magic